Welcome back aboard Blurred Force One with your boy Mo, and this is the Supercast. The Supercast where we talk about all things superhero in our pop culture media. That's movies, TV shows, video games. We talk about the news, do some speculation, all that good nerdy stuff. And before we get into the podcast today, get down there and hit like on this video. And hey, we are in superhero heaven, I would say, with the release of Suicide Squad Isekai. The Boys is running right now. My Adventures with Superman. And we got some pretty good upcoming things going on as far as, what's it? Batman Cape Crusaders coming out soon. Also, we're looking forward to, of course, Deadpool and Wolverine. So lots of cool stuff going on. But as usually I'd say, ask Lottie how he's doing, but he unfortunately can't join me for this week's episode, so it's just me. It's just me flying solo today, so it's all good. I'll keep Blurred Force One going in the air, if you will. And so usually I ask him about what he's doing and up to that's nerdy, and what I'm up to that's nerdy, and it's actually been a pretty big nerdy week for me. Besides continuing to watch Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur again, I've also started a run through the Marvel Netflix shows in anticipation of Daredevil Born Again coming back, I believe next year. And also went out and saw Furiosa, the Mad Max movie, which didn't do well at the box office. Was a good time though. Had a great time with that. Watched the movie The Watchers by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, and it was fine, I guess. It could have been better. I think it was a good concept, not executed okay. And beyond that, my boy M. Bison dropped on Street Fighter 6, and so I played around a little with him. Hopefully I'll get some real matches going, but like there's just so much going on in terms of what's going on with nerd stuff that it's hard to keep up. So anyway, this is the Supercast where we talk about all things superhero in our pop culture media. So, of course, we got plenty of news coming up, especially because, it's almost July, so San Diego Comic-Con is coming up. Of course, we are going to cover that. But here are the items that I'm going to be talking about this week on the Supercast, which are Blade loses more actors. Of course, it's in development hell right now, so we'll see who those people are. Brandon Routh proves why he was actually a really great Superman. Marvel's going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, so we're going to talk about predictions, about news or reveals. The Lanterns series over at DC gets the green light. What are the details behind that? Antony Starr actually made a kind of a big change to the character of Homelander that had a huge impact on episode 4. What was it? And also, can we just get this guy an Emmy for real? We're going to talk about the set photos coming from the Superman and why are fanboys crying all about it. Then we're going to review 3 trailers that came out this week. Penguin trailer 2, Batman Cape Crusaders first trailer, and Hitmonkey trailer that for the cartoon that's coming out next month. So lots of stuff to talk about. Let's dig in, man. Let's go. So, we've been talking about Blade. Good night. Like, Lottie doesn't think it's ever coming out. It's hard not to agree with him because every time we look, something else is going on with it, and it's not forward, movement, not forward progress. It's something bad happening, and in this case, it's the loss of actors. Delroy, Lindo, and Aaron Pierre have dropped out of the project. Now, this could just be scheduling, because look, people can't wait around forever for jobs. Like in Hollywood, you got to keep moving. You got to keep booking the next thing. You got to get your agent schedule out what you're going to be doing for the year. And let's just say Delroy Lindo, he's a great actor, definitely going to be in demand. Aaron Pierre, he's also a pretty brilliant young actor. He's got to, they got to keep him moving. So maybe it's scheduling, or maybe they got written out, because we know that they are rewriting. We've heard that they landed on a story they wanted to tell, but Delroy Lindo and Aaron Pierre were hired on before the last round, this latest round of rewrites, and before they lost their most recent director. So it's equally likely, I'd even say probably more likely, that this is actually their characters, are no longer needed in the story itself. And this could be due to the fact that it's not a period piece anymore. We're not really sure about it. They're probably going to say scheduling conflicts anyway, but this feels once again like, just another 2 steps back for Blade. And I'm starting to come around. I'm just saying, if we do get this, maybe not Mahershala Ali, or if he is in it, maybe he's not Blade, because this is taken quite a while. But we have heard that maybe they are aiming to get the script done in the next few months. And if they do, maybe they can get it on track to come out in early 2026. But either way, we'll keep an eye on the continuing saga of getting Blade onto the silver screen, and we'll let you guys know all about that when we learn something. This was a cool little thing I saw, and it's just because Brandon Routh, I think he is kind of an unsung Superman. A lot of people don't like Superman Returns. I don't know why. I really enjoyed it. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember really enjoying it. Brandon Routh, he did end up playing Superman. He put the K back on when it came to the CW Crisis movies. I think 1 or 2 of them he was in. I think it might have been Crisis on Infinite Earths. But either way, he's not well remembered among the Supermen. But I came across a little something he posted, about his advice to David Corenswet about playing Clark Kent, slash, Superman, and kind of the mindset you had to get into when you're playing this particular iconic character. And this is, proves to me why he is, in fact, one of the great Supermen. So the quote is, I think the biggest thing for me about Superman is always recognizing the non-physical superpowers that he has. It can be cheesy to relate it to the teach a man to fish story, but quite literally, that is how I see it, and it's very apropos to being the thing. If you save people all the time everywhere, maybe they never learn how to save themselves. That doesn't mean that you don't save them, but it just means that the teaching, the personality, the aspect, the human communication, the understanding Superman can give us of inclusion. To me, Superman is pure love. He doesn't judge. He has to make some hard choices and stop people from doing bad things. But my goal for Superman is that he's the guy that everyone can be in their person. Maybe without all the flying and all the other stuff. But he's an example, the best of humanity, and he could teach us to do it, not just by his actions, but by calling out the truth. So, listen, Lottie and I, we've gone on and on about Superman and, what good representations of him, not so good representations of him, how people are confused or mistaken about what makes Superman tick. And also why people that say Superman is lame, they just don't get it. They don't understand, what Superman at his core is. And I say, Brandon Routh gets it. He understands with that quote, how Superman is, as, Paul Kent, but also Jor-El says, can be an example to people. He's a Boy Scout, but he's showing how a person with power can be responsible. A person with overwhelming power can not only be responsible, but also be relatable, but also can, show a better way to move forward. And, even, just getting the cat out of the tree, or walking the old woman, or flying the old woman across the street, or just showing care and showing people that, being strong doesn't necessarily mean lording it over other people. That's the sort of, mindset I like. And I like Brandon Routh and how he sort of explains his mindset, and how it translates into how he moves and works as Superman. So I really hope David Corenswet got something good out of that. Like, that's not, because we need a Superman that really resonates, but also really reflects all of the values of Superman, going from way back when. And, obviously Superman's changed a lot over the years, but at his core, he's a godlike person that serves and chooses, to embrace humanity instead of lording his power over others, and to be good, and to be a truly good person that can be a model for others. So I hope that that's what he takes away from it. But I feel like I have a good feeling that David Corenswet gets it. So, but we'll see. We'll see when we get to look at the first trailer, and we'll talk about that then. So, San Diego Comic-Con is almost upon us. It's July's almost here, and Marvel's returning after skipping it last year. And let me say, it made sense that they skipped. Like, what was there to talk about last year? Like, for real, what was there to talk about? Nothing. Nobody was there to talk about it. In part because, there was the writer strike and the actor strike going on, but it wasn't even just that. They weren't going to Comic-Con before that. They weren't doing that before, because they were sort of in the midst of trying to figure out and retool things. Remember, this is last summer was, right. I think Bob Iger had taken back over at Disney. So, some reshuffling and some reprioritizing was going on. They hadn't had a great year. Like, this year obviously has been sort of a bust, because there's only really one movie out this year, but last year was not a great year. Even though the Marvels hadn't come out then, but wasn't a great year with, with their movie offerings. And the idea was that Marvel was going to have to go back to the drawing board and start, reevaluating how they were going to make films and which films they were going to do, and maybe they were going to have to shelve things. So last year, besides the strikes, just wasn't the year for Marvel to be at Comic-Con. But that's all changed this year, and for which I say yes. Look, Comic-Con has, I think, got overinflated, in particular about its importance. There are other Comic-Cons that also are big, like CCXP down in Brazil, New York Comic-Con, and various other nerd conventions around. But those three are really the main ones where Marvel is likely to show up and say something new. But it's nice to see that they are, in fact, going to be showing up and having a presentation in Hall H, because historically, when they have a Hall H presentation, it's a big deal. So, what can we expect from this? What can we expect Feige and crew to bring to the table to get us excited? Because again, they're in a rebuilding time. This, Deadpool and Wolverine is the big thing for Marvel this year, and obviously, we still have, Agatha all along coming along at the end of the year. So, we have stuff coming up next year with Daredevil. We got things that are in the works, like what was it, Wonder Man. We have the X-Men bubbling around. Fantastic Four is in the works. So much so, I figured we would just kind of list some of these things that are possibly going to be talked about. So let's speculate, or just say what we want to see. And I'm going to quote somebody from Threads that I follow, and that follows me, Ishmael Samad. I hope I said that right. who was talking about this, and I kind of got in on this thread. But so hoping the Fantastic Four cast makes a brief cameo. I believe this is possible because I think Fantastic Four starts filming either the week before or the week after Comic-Con. And this is coming from Feige talking about on the Marvel podcast. So I believe it's the week after that they're going to start filming. So it's entirely possible they will show up on the stage at Hall H. He also says a Captain America Brave New World trailer and possibly Anthony Mackie or other people on the stage. That also would make sense because Captain America 4 is the next big movie for Marvel Studios after Deadpool and Wolverine. Agatha all along in the cast and potential trailer or first look. Yes, that would also make sense. That's coming up this fall, right around Halloween. Then Daredevil Born Again. I believe 2 years ago, they did have, I think, Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio at Hall H for the announcements of Born Again. And it's weird saying that 2 years ago because in that 2 years, they filmed and then scrapped and then started over and filmed some more. And so now, of course, it's coming out next year. It's one of the, I believe, 5 or 6 Marvel Studios projects that will come out next year. Then he also mentions Thunderbolts cast and maybe first looks or pictures or something like that. That would also be cool and would make sense because that is the second movie, I believe, next year that is supposed to. Actually, no, I think it's the third. I believe it's been moved to the third or fourth quarter of next year. So it would also make sense, especially since they just finished wrapping filming. Perhaps get a first look or some kind of behind the scenes, video, something like that to talk about, just to get people excited about what's going to happen. And hopefully it will be nice if they would actually just announce the fucking Sentry. Can we just stop playing around and act like that's not happening? Like, let's call him the Sentry. He also mentions announcing a recast of Kang the Conqueror and some official Avengers 5 information. To be honest, I think both of those are unlikely because I don't think that Avengers 5 is written. I think Michael Waldron is still in the process of finishing that script. I hadn't heard anything otherwise. So, throwing a recast in there might be putting the cart before the horse and giving any official Avengers information. If they do give any, I think it may mostly just be to mention which Avengers are going to show up in it. Probably not too much more than that, but we will see. Also, there are other things like talking about Armor Wars, which it has finished filming. I believe they are. I don't think they're doing pickups, but I believe it's in post VFX. It's not set to come out next year, but it might be a good idea to remind people that it exists. I would also say, for my part, I thought it would be nice if they would talk about Wonder Man, which Kevin Feige did shout out on the official Marvel podcast. So, let's get a look at Wonder Man. Maybe, again, because they finished film. I think they finished filming a month or two ago, maybe. So they could have some post visual VFX shots, but also maybe just bring Yahya Abdul-Mateen out to just talk and get us excited. Mention Armor Wars, which is it should be a movie that comes out in 2026 maybe. So what's going on there? Maybe give us some reassurance about Blade. That'd be cool too. It will be a great time to announce, a director or, bring out Jordan Peele and say he's going to be directing Blade or something like that. That would be a great, a great way to kind of bring down the house. I would also like for them to announce for as movies, Young Avengers, which they teased in the Marvels, Shang-Chi 2, which Simu Liu has assured us is going to happen. And then, of course, Spider-Man 4, which everyone knows is coming, but there has been no real official word on it. And X-Men, which they most recently have officially hired Michael Leslie to write the script. And Lottie and I talked about that, I believe, last week or the week before last. So if they officially have a script writer, maybe they can start giving us some info about X-Men. But it may be a little too early for that. Also, this would be a great time for us to get a sneak peek at some animation projects that we know they've had, working in the background for the last, couple years. So those are Marvel Zombies, X-Men 97 Season 2, and Eyes of Wakanda, which I believe Eyes of Wakanda is next year. But I know Marvel Zombies should be also. So these are 3 animation projects I'd really like to see. And also, What If Season 3, which is the final season. What do they have in store for us there? So those are all, that's a lot. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, they have like an hour and a half up there. Everything I just mentioned is a lot, because an hour and a half can pass real fast just trying to mention all of those, much less show footage and everything. So, but any of that would happen, that'd be great. And I'm saying there's about 70% of what I just mentioned is probable. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye out in about a month, and we'll let you guys know what they talk about at San Diego Comic-Con. So, speaking of long gestating projects, and DC Studios sort of announced that they were going to be doing a Green Lantern series in the vein of True Detective. It was going to be called Lanterns. And it was originally going to be based on a development treatment by Greg Berlanti. And it was going to be, space operas featuring the Green Lantern Corps, all that stuff, which sounded awesome. I'm just going to say, sounded awesome. I wanted to see Kilowog and all of the other, various, lanterns that are in the Green Lantern Corps. The Green Lantern Corps is probably my favorite, team book that I've ever read in DC Comics. And it's featured a lot of really cool stuff like Blackest Night, the rebirth and all that. So there's a lot of cool lore there. And also, Green Lanterns kind of got done dirty by DC. The Ryan Reynolds one didn't work out well, and they just have not done it, correctly. Even Zack Snyder he threw a Green Lantern into the Snyder cut of Justice League, and that was cool, I guess, but not any real development. So I am very interested to see anything related to Green Lantern coming from DC Studios. So to that end, the Lanterns TV show has been officially greenlit with some changes. One of them is that it's not a Max original anymore. And to which I say, no fucking shit. Why would they do Max originals? I still don't understand Max originals. I barely understand Disney Plus originals. But you have a linear cable, situation that you already used to do Last of Us, and you already used to do, Euphoria, you already used to do Hacks and House of the Dragon. Why on earth would you silo DC properties into only being on the streaming service? It's like you don't want money or something. You don't want more eyeballs on your thing. But, of course, there's plenty, lots of people are streaming nowadays, but Max is not it's not a top streaming service. And, it's probably number 3 or 4. Also, cable is declining, but it's not dead yet. And HBO is, for all intents and purposes, a sign of quality to people. So if you want to do a true detective style story, probably throw it on HBO. So it's, smart move there. We found out, that they also shuttered the Greg Berlanti version of this, and they're going to do, like I said, true detective style, with Jon Stewart being a rookie Green Lantern and Hal Jordan being a more seasoned Green Lantern, and the two of them taking on a mysterious murder case that's obviously going to involve extraterrestrials and all that fun stuff, but it's here on Earth. Again, no shit. And by that I mean, look, they want to save money. This is easy. It's easy to understand. They want to save money. You have this in outer space as a space opera. It's expensive, and it costs a lot. Takes a long time to do the VFX for all of these aliens that are green screen, not green screen, but VFX, motion capture suits, and all that other stuff. It's going to be expensive. Whereas if you just have Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan kind of, sort of flying around and using their Green Lantern powers in the most mundane ass ways, because in the comics, that's what they're not, it's imagination, but they're not super imaginative. So it's usually like hammers and boxing gloves and, whatever, simple machines, that sort of thing. I think Jon Stewart may, make turrets or some shit like that. Stuff that's not going to be terribly difficult to do VFX wise. So it makes sense to me that they would choose to not have aliens, choose it to be earthbound, so it'd be easier to do set design and all that stuff. And generally speaking, save some money on this show. So, nice to know that. But also, we mentioned before, but they confirmed that, Chris Mundy, Damon Lindelof, and Tom King are in fact going to be, doing writing. And I don't know if there are more to the writing staff than just those three, but they are definitely going to be doing that. So it's getting a straight to series, and let's see, at this point, if it's only just now getting straight to series, it's probably at the very least has a pilot, and it has a series Bible or an outline for the episodes, and they just need to be written. So probably a writer's room is being convened at this this moment. You figure on 3-4 months to get scripts down, and so you're talking about pre-production possibly taking a few months. So this could start filming as early as maybe next February or March, and eyeing maybe a 2026, early, March, April, May release, maybe. So, well, that's good. Look, as far as turnaround, that's a pretty good deal if they can get moving on it. So, I will say, probably that's the most optimistic case. And so let's just be happy we're getting any Green Lantern at all. So we'll keep an eye on this, and we'll let you guys know if we get any information about who stars in it and where it's going to be set, all that good stuff, and we'll talk about it then. So The Boys season 4 is off to a tremendous start. I think first 4 episodes have been absolutely amazing, and also stressful as shit because, god dang it, Antony Starr is absolutely killing it as Homelander. And by that I mean making me sweat nervously, trying to figure out who he's going to laser to death or dismember for just saying the wrong thing or breathing wrong on any particular episode. And you know what? He held it together for a few episodes, but episode 4 was oh my god, it was crazy. He goes back to where he was raised, where he was raised in a laboratory and essentially tortured to figure out the extent of his powers, and to sort of brainwash him into a tool, a perfect tool for Vought. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, he's actually a person. So he, now he's a damaged person with the power of a god, and he knows how to use it against people. And also he's unhinged, so he's a psychopath. So at the end of episode 4, it ends, of course, in a bloody way, and it was, probably the best episode of the season, but definitely a Homelander, you know, performance that was to be remembered. And I'm saying all of this not just to tell you to go watch the show, but also to give Antony Starr his flowers right now. Like, I'm saying Emmy nomination, or you guys, or the TV Academy is fake, and I stand by that. But I also want to say that Antony Starr, he just understands this character so well that he literally changed the way that whole scene played out. This is according to Eric Kripke, talking about how they originally wrote Homelander's, homecoming, if you will, differently. And so I'm going to read the quote here. He says, "The original draft had Homelander coming down there and being just cruel top to bottom. It's very much like he was coming down there to torture those people and basically pull the wings off flies. Ant called me and he said, 'That feels wrong to me. This is like my home.' I think there will be moments where I would be very childlike and sometimes confused. I could be cruel, but then I could feel bad about being cruel, and I could just be this mess where you never know how I'm going to react next." Man, was he right. What makes that story is he comes down there and he almost becomes that kid again. So it's really remarkable, and it's terrifying. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's whole series of scenes with him down there, essentially getting his get back on Marty and I forget the other guy's name, but Stan or Stanley or something like that. And also against, the woman who ran the whole department. And the way he held these people hostage with his smile and his presence and his pettiness and his long memory of all of these wrongs that were done to him, and how he exacts his revenge. And it just lulls everyone into I don't want to say lulls them. They know he's a rabid dog and they're stuck in a room with him and they can't get away. And they are all just trying to, get in the corner and hope that he doesn't come their way. And of course he does. But just the way he presents that, and I like it that way he said, it's childlike and cruel and confused, and there's all these emotions coming up in him, and ultimately he chooses to violently react to them. But I do like that was Antony Starr understanding Homelander to a point that he actually made the scene better than what the writers, who are already doing a great job, made it better than what they did. And I love that Eric Kripke understands that that the actors can in fact change these things so that they actually become more real. I love that. I love the collaboration. And again, just give this man an Emmy already, damn it. Like, TV Academy, stop being cowards, stop being genre, afraid of genre, stop being afraid that people are going to call you a nerd, and just put this man up for that award, because this man plays one of the most compelling, if not the most compelling, villains on TV right now. So let's get on it. But good on Antony Starr for really, making an impact there. And I can't wait to see the rest of the season and how he's going to bring that madman, to life in other probably savage ways. So we'll talk about all of that when the next episodes come out. Speaking of Superman, now I know we were talking about Homeland, but a Superman-esque person, Homelander. Let's talk about the actual Superman, and let's take a look at something that's really got some nerds got their underwear up their butt. They've got a real they've got a real nerd wedgie going on here because, as I like to think, they lack imagination or even an understanding of, I don't know, filmmaking or just costume design, or just have any way of knowing that, cinema magic has a way of working with, with what's going on physically. Also, can I just draw attention to the fact that comic book accurate, costumes are fucking silly. Remember, these are drawn, they're not drawn, super realistically in the first damn place, especially if you're talking about Silver Age, Golden Age, Silver Age. They are almost literally have zero dimension. If they were spandex, they would be like the tightest possible spandex. So there has to be some artistic license taken. There has to be reality, considered for how these costumes come together. All that being said, there are still fucking nerds on the internet having a little fit about Superman's costume. I think maybe Mr. Terrific's costume too, but whatever. Well, and what I'm talking about is these set photos that are, you're seeing right now, or, taken with a, telephoto lens or whatever as they film certain scenes. And they're just so disappointed about this, which is par for the course. Nerds can't ever be fucking satisfied with any costume, like ever. Costume, I'm being hyperbolic. I'm sure there's a costume that they like, but they didn't like Robert Pattinson's Batman suit. Hey, he looks fine. They didn't like what the Joker looked like. Hey, it was fine. They didn't like a lot of these costumes. They didn't like, how Michael Keaton looked in his costume. So they eventually came around, and maybe they will on this too. But there is also a contingent of fans who are intent on shitting on the new DCU because it's not continuing the Snyderverse or whatever. Maybe they just have a mad on with James Gunn. Who the fuck knows? But there is an awful lot of this is trash and like this movie's gonna be trash, and I'm like, well, y'all just stop being that. Stop being that sort of person. And just consider the practical considerations. And also that VFX exists, as they do for all these superhero things. And they often, smooth over the creases and make everything look a little more comic booky or whatever. So just chill. These are long distance photos taken with a telephoto lens that are not going to be representative of the final product. Just understand that. That being said, I gotta geek out over these. David Cornsweet looks great as Superman. He looks great. I am, very happy about what we're getting with this version of Superman. I don't give a damn that, he's not roided out or whatever and on his suit or anything like that. I'm glad the man's got a little, looseness in there so he can actually fucking move around and do his job. That's cool. Good for him. They'll fix it in post. It's fine. I do like the way the suit looks. I like the way it looks on him. I think he cuts quite a figure. I do also like our new Lois Lane, and I think they look really good together. They really do. These pictures, of course, they're not going to be the final, the final product, but we are getting to see them together, and I think it looks good. Also, apparently, people are bitching about the Superman trunks. Just go somewhere, man. Come on. You're worried about the super underwear. All right, I guess if that's the deal breaker for you, I guess don't see this movie or something. It's just silly stuff. We also get to see Mr. Terrific and Superman together, which of course we did know that Superman was not going to be the first superhero. He's going to be joining a world that already has superheroes. Cool. Edie Gathegi, I believe is his name, looking good as Mr. Terrific. I like the Fair Play jacket. I think it looks dope. The shoes and everything looks very much like the modern conception of Mr. Terrific. Now, of course, there is more than one Mr. Terrifics. He is the second one, but I think he looks really good, at least from the long distance. Now, obviously, we're gonna get better quality photos in the future. We also, I believe, we got to get a look at Perry White. We did. We also, we got to see that, and we got to see David Corn Sweat as Clark Kent. So we got to see in the costume and then his Clark Kent persona. And I have to say, he again really looks good. Looks like what I expect Clark Kent to look like. Kind of harassed, a little timid, maybe a little mousy. His hair's different. The way his mannerisms are different. At least from this still photo, I think he looks quite good, actually. So there's more. There are more of these. I don't want to cover too many of them, but I'm really getting excited about Superman. This is, obviously this has to be a big deal. It has to be a great. It has to really be a great movie. And so far, at least from these stills, I think they are hitting their mark in terms of the looks. They're hitting their mark in terms of at least the body language between characters, particularly between Lois and between Superman. And again, Corn Sweat doing his Clark Kent looks quite good. So I'm more excited about this, and I can't wait to see more. Hopefully we'll be getting an actual trailer sometime. I would say probably in January, maybe February. So maybe we'll get a teaser. Maybe we'll get some early footage at Comic-Con. Who knows? We'll see. So we'll let you guys know all about that when we hear more. So now we got some trailer reviews. So just my quick thoughts on the 3 superhero related trailers that came out last week. And they're pretty great ones, actually. I'm not going to bury the lead. I think they're all really good. I didn't need them to sell me on them. Like, I was going to watch these things anyway. But, maybe you're on the fence or you just didn't know about these things. Whatever the case may be, check out all of these trailers. But we're going to start off with The Penguin trailer 2, which is, of course, for the show The Penguin. That is a follow-up to Matt Reeves' The Batman, taking place in a flooded Gotham with the Falcone crime family sort of in disarray at Carmine Falcone's death, or maybe more like murder, but also Oswald Cobblepot trying to make a move, trying to become a boss. And, how is the rest of the underworld going to react to this? Because it seems that the daughter of Carmine Falcone is not going to just let him walk away with the prize, or any of the other members of her family push her out. So I actually really, really enjoy this trailer. Actually, I guess the first time I watched it, I was like, this is cool. But the second and third time I watched it, I really started looking at some of the details. And this looks like, first of all, obviously it looks right like, it is a direct sequel to the Batman in terms of its style and presentation, the dark and grittiness. That Gotham is it's very much a character in and of itself, but also it very much is going to be playing out like these sort of organized crime dramas, and it makes sense to me because at this point there are no fantastical villains, not really. There aren't really any costume freaks or whatever, what have you. So really the crime is centered around gangsters. And what are they going to do? Now, is Batman going to show up in this? I don't know. But it looks to me like Penguin is making a play for the throne. And he maybe is coming from not such a great place of strength, but he also has some big plans and is about to bump heads with the daughter of Carmine Falcone. So but she's got the wolves nipping at our heels also. And can they strike a deal? Can they work together? Or are they destined to, gun each other down? We shall see. All around, I thought it was very good. I think Colin Farrell, he's not going to get an Emmy nomination for this, even though probably he should. But he looks like he's doing some really great work there. And Chris Milioti, she also looks like she's really doing some really heavy lifting. So I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to see it in September. The second one I looked at was Batman Caped Crusader. Now I think this is an animated show 2 years in the making. Almost got completely canned when David Zaslav and Discovery took over Warner Brothers. And, they basically said, we're not going to make this, but if somebody else wants it, they can come, purchase the rights to it. And Amazon Prime was like, hell yeah, let me have it. So Amazon Prime Video is getting this, and it's actually coming out August 1st. I think they'll drop it all, even though I think that's stupid as hell. I think they should drop it week to week because, look at X-Men 97. We'll see. They tend to drop everything all at once, but also the boys exist, so maybe they'll do week to week. We shall see. But this is very much a spiritual successor to Batman the Animated Series from the 90s, made by many of the same people. I think you got Paul Dini and Bruce Timm who are producing on this. Also, J.J. Abrams, I believe, is producing on this. As far as writing credits, Ed Brubaker is working on it. I believe Mark Bernardin also contributed an episode to this in terms of the script. And I'm sure there's a few other people I'm not thinking about, but there are definitely some heavy hitters who are working on this show. So that's great and all. What did it look like? What did it sound like? You got Hamish Linklater, who is playing the voice of Batman, which, after Kevin Conroy unfortunately passed away from cancer, I think a year ago. So he's taken over, and let me say, sounds pretty damn good. Sounds pretty good indeed. He's not aping Conroy. He is, sort of matching, but also giving his own spin on Batman. Interestingly enough, we did not see in this trailer, we did not see Batman. We did not see Bruce Wayne. We only saw Batman. But we also got to see a lot of the bad guys we're likely to see. Of course, Harley Quinn, Clayface. There's a couple people I did not quite recognize in there. Catwoman, of course, is in there too. And then the crime family. So I believe the Falcones are going to probably be involved. But also we see that Gotham PD is on the lookout trying to catch Batman also. So this is very much a, most wanted sort of situation where he's new to the, to the game, but he's, sort of picking off these bad guys, but they don't want a vigilante in their town. And so we get the Batmobile that looks very much like it's reminiscent of the 89 Batmobile and also the animated series Batmobile, but it's also kind of its own thing. No Robin. We do get a Alfred that looks like he did in the animated series. And it's also clear that this is a period piece. So all that being said, looks great. Animation looks awesome. Everything sounds good. I feel like this is probably going to be a home run, but I'm really anxiously anticipating this coming out in August. So finally, I want to talk about the Hit Monkey trailer, which I reacted to on this channel. So if you want to see what my reaction to it was, you can go check that out. But this is a show, came out 2 years ago, and in our review, Lottie and I reviewed it on this podcast. We said this show had no damn business being so fucking good. Hit Monkey season 1 is amazing. It is absolutely as amazing. It is ridiculously slept on too. I'm sure a lot of you listening never even knew this existed, or if you did, you didn't watch it. It's not in the MCU. It's, the first one was in the Marvel banner. It's a legacy show from Marvel TV before Feige and Marvel Studios took over the television part. It's animated, so that's also a strike against it for most people, but it is fucking dope. It's such a good show. There's a lot of action, a lot of funny stuff going on. There's some mystical thing. It's got some good emotional stuff going on, but like, the main character is a snow macaque, and he's in a suit and shooting things, and like he fights a sumo wrestler like with mystical powers, and Lady Bullseye's in it. There's so much badass shit in that first season. It's ridiculous. So I was, at the time I was like, this is no way this is coming out. They're not going to do season 2. Why would they? But apparently enough people watched it. They wanted to do a season 2. And in fact, I didn't even really know, me and Lottie talked about, we didn't even know this was coming back until really recently. But it's done, and they're coming out July 15th. And so this trailer is fucking dope. It very much, and we had heard that they were removing a lot of the Marvel references because this was not going to be listed as a Marvel show. It may have Marvel logo when it, in the credits or something, but they're not leaning into its Marvelness. So that, I think, means that the amount of Marvel characters is probably going to be 0 in this, beyond Hitmonkey himself and Lady Bullseye, because she was important in the previous season. I don't think we'll get, Silver Samurai or Fat Cobra in this season like we did last season, but they are, if these other characters they have are probably going to be stand-ins for existing Marvel characters. There seems to be a ton of personality in all of the little side characters. You see Bryce, and he gets to actually come back to life after, he'd been murdered previously. He gets to come back to life, and he talks to his daughter, and she's like, kind of a assassin, weird. She's not an assassin, but she likes the whole violence like he does. There's a deal with the devil going on, and then there's a handler that's played by Leslie Jones, and that looks like it's going to be interesting. The only thing I didn't really like about the trailer is that Hitmonkey was a bit sidelined. It was more about Bryce, and I understand this is a kind of a buddy cop situation between Bryce and Hitmonkey, but still, I need to see what Hitmonkey wants. What does he got going on? He's not just trailing around after Bryce, right? Especially since they're not attached at the hip, Ghost and the person they're haunting. So that being said, it looks dope though. There's a lot of mystical shit going on in it. It looks like New York's about to get fucked up again, like, of course. And it also looks like Bryce is back, he's back in business. So I'm really excited for this. I cannot wait. Me and Lottie are going to watch it. We're going to review it. We'll let you guys know all about what we think. So with that being said, that is all of the news for this week. I'm sure there are other things that happened this week, probably something that I didn't include, or I missed, or you know what? Maybe you agreed or disagreed or just had something to say that you want us to hear. Whatever the case may be, you know what to do. Get down there to the comment section, leave your thoughts there. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, blurred_force1 on Instagram and on Threads, and it's super_not_funny show on TikTok. And while you are checking all those things out, do us a favor, get down there, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. All that good stuff helps more people to see this channel, helps more people to see the content that we make. And it is a lot. We do, reviews, we do reactions, we do this podcast. We really appreciate you listening and hope you can go check out all of that stuff. And if you're listening to us on a podcasting platform, go over there and give us a review. 5 stars if you think that's what we deserve, but whatever really you feel like, we got. So, all that being said, next week, we're going to be talking about more boys, more, Suicide Squad Isekai, which is something you definitely should be watching. Check out our review of that on the channel. We got plenty more news coming up. Look, we're heading towards San Diego Comic-Con. We've got months of superhero stuff ahead of us. It's a great time to be a superhero nerd. I hope that you are feeling the excitement like we are, and that you just want to talk about it, or at least hear a couple blurs talk about it. So you know what to do. Come back to here this coming week, and we will talk about all that stuff then. So until then, I have been Mo, your commenter extraordinaire on all things pop culture, and I'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.